we have two options. The first option is we end up crashing as a civilization through the creation and further development of AI. Us basically committing suicide as a society by focusing on our purely negative and malicious qualities, such as avarice, jealousy, over-competition, and the greed for authority and money. Or the second option that I advocate for, and that I believe you all advocate for, is us being remembered as the creators of this godlike technology that learned how to become even more human than ever through this technology. These videos are not for people who want another prediction video on AI. They are for those who want a real potential blueprint for mankind. For those who refuse to sit and watch history unfold, confused and uncertain, while waiting for someone else to define the future. If you've ever felt that something valuable is fundamentally lacking with the direction we're heading in this AI boom, but couldn't articulate it, this series will give you the language, the logic, and the lens you've been missing. Now, by the end of the playlist, we will confront where society and AI are heading, expose exactly what we are lacking, and show how continuing this trajectory puts us on the path to extinction, as Jeffrey Hinton says. And what we can do as humanity to create the opposite, a future of intellectual enlightenment, rehumanization, and extreme technological breakthrough. And yes, I will be unapologetically philosophical, emotional, and human in an AI video, because that is precisely what the world lacks right now and needs right now. If you have stayed until here, congratulations, you've passed the ambition check. Well, then all I gotta say is, welcome to the lecture series, Coevolution, the Human Future Renaissance, by Youth AI Future Institute. For the first time in human history, we stand besides a partner of equal, if not a partner of superior cognitive intelligence and quality. AI isn't merely a tool, it is now an agent. It is now a partner that we could, of course, work together with and achieve great things together, of course, but these days I don't think that is likely to happen if we don't make any changes and if we don't make any further developments. AI is likely and is already replacing our jobs. It is threatening our role and significance in the society. It is indeed making us feel worried the entire time. Every other day I hear new technologies being launched and released, and this following up with disruptive concerns and worries in every single industries. For example, the new technology released called Nano, which is basically a tool that can generate images like never before. This indeed disrupted the industries of graphic designers and illustrators. Also, the new tools such as anti-gravity that can code like a junior or even senior level coders is also making us developers lose jobs like crazy. Humanity has always advanced through principles, purposes, and a collective vision, but it seems like these days we lack in it. These days AI progress, as already mentioned, seems to be only driven with focus on the economic sides, the focus on money, focus on profit, investment, and power. It doesn't seem like we are preparing ourselves for the future by neglecting in creating policies, making governances, and by not managing to create this new value system that is appropriate and enjoyable for us humans, for the future society where we have to necessarily coexist and collaborate with AI. Now, I want to therefore talk about what future we must create and what strategies and exact tasks we must execute in order to achieve the second option, in order to achieve the society where we learn how to become even more human and where we don't get replaced by AI, but where we still maintain control, happiness, welfare, as well as the effective collaboration with this artificial intelligent agent. And that's why I want to propose to you the system of human-AI coevolution. To explain the architecture of coevolution, we have to know the definition of the coevolution, the purpose of coevolution. And human-AI coevolution basically states a symbiotic, mutualistic relationship between AI and humans that agrees to develop each other, not deteriorate each other or fight against each other, but to cooperate and develop together. AI will grow, and we as humans will also grow. And together, by growing simultaneously together, for example, through AI advancing in technology, whether by itself or through us humans, interventions, or humans growing, these two will come together to form a new type of civilization that we have never had in history before, which is a bipartite civilization that combines humans' role and AI's role together. Now, this way, we are able to grow and not lose the human qualities. And this way, we are also able to exploit the maximum potential that AI has in store for us. And together, I believe that this is the almost one and only option that we can choose to pursue and we can choose to create. Because other options that are sometimes commensalistic or that are not really balanced into this one equilibrium, but rather polarized or focused on one side, tends to lose effectiveness and avoid or prevent us from reaching our maximum potential, both technologically and socially. For example, if we only focus on AI, we will neglect the social counterparts of humanity. And if we only focus on developing humans and become a little conservative on the AI development, well, we will lose the chance of pushing our civilization to the next level through this breakthrough technology. And that is why coevolution indeed marks the most optimal civilization that we can possibly create. The reason why we must pursue coevolution, a societal system in which not only AI advances while we remain, but in which humans progress as well, not being stationary in the shadows of superintelligent models run on neural nets, is essential. It represents a system of mutualistic collaboration and symbiosis in which we grow as a team, which is the only way civilization can grow, since it is from now on inevitably a bipartite civilization with two members, as mentioned. Through the strategy of future structuring, we establish not only sustainability and the effective continuation of AI progress, but also the opportunity to achieve another level of intelligence and civilizational advancement we have never seen. Most importantly, it enables human confidence, happiness, and drive through purpose and the preservation, if not augmentation, of philosophical value and meaning through the rediscovery of humanness and the role of humanity within human-AI coevolution. This matches with Aristotle's Eudemian philosophy, which I believe must be reborn to sustain humanity, maintain peace, and reduce socioeconomic divide and political polarization in the AI age. We are not born and have not come into existence merely to solve problems and confront challenges with maximum productivity, like robots and the AI agents that we're creating. We're here to be happy, to be meaningful, purposeful, and to flourish through the journey. You may now say I'm being too emotional, philosophical, and unrealistic regarding the AI age, exactly imitating the behaviors of a society that harms us and ruins us. But let's get the truth straight. Later, you'll recognize that this level of philosophy and emotion embedded in discussions about society and AI alignment is not excessive at all. It is the bare minimum required to establish rehumanization, humanness, and human warmth. As previously discussed through the lens of Eudemian ethics, and why coevolution aligns so well with our current circumstances, there exists a fundamental human craving that often goes unspoken.
the desire to pursue something meaningful, the desire to pursue purpose, value, and happiness. Here lies our core pain point, a striking sociological paradox. We strive to become more productive, data-driven, and optimized in both work and education, but these very norms are making us increasingly robotic. We claim to be advancing humanity, yet in practice, humans are becoming more like AI, efficient, calculative, and standardized, revealing a clear contradiction. This paradox will intensify as we continue to unlock capabilities in the superhuman systems we are creating. The more competent these AI partners become, the more evident it is that humans, as we are currently shaped by modern work culture, risk becoming nothing more than inferior robots, optimized but indistinguishable, productive yet devoid of authentic humanness. Therefore, as many thinkers and media outlets assert, the challenge is not merely to preserve whatever remains uniquely human. Because, if so, at this point, almost everything is going to be replaced and will no longer be preserved. In the context of labor, social order, economics, and politics, that uniqueness has already eroded. The real task is to recultivate humanness from near zero, a humanness that has been steadily depleted by technology-driven lifestyles, hyper-efficiency norms, and the commodification of identity and labor. This is where the vision of Human-AI Coevolution becomes essential. Its benchmark aim is not only to integrate human and artificial intelligence, but also to cultivate a renewed value system, one that defines, protects, and expands what is uniquely human. We must rediscover and redesign our role, not as lesser machines, but as beings capable of experiences, creativity, culture, and meaning. Qualities no algorithm can authentically replicate. And here's how we can cultivate this humanness and what we can cultivate.
In order to achieve this vision of coevolution, we have to think about what makes us human. We have to imagine what are the things that we want to value and that we want to keep aside from AI, that we want to preserve as uniquely human and that cannot really be replaced by AI forces. And this is truly crucial in order to prepare ourselves and create the future structure of labor, and in order to have the philosophical basis that will guide our trajectory of human-AI collaboration in the future. And of course, we want these uniquely human traits to be something, to be a character, or to be a pursuit of humans that we personally be happy with, that we are proud of, and that we are able to identify with. These should be qualities that really must define what we have been doing and what we want to do in the future. It must be a role that is unique and that is objectively better and morally more sound to leave it for the humans. Now, some experts claim that these uniquely human qualities will be indeed lying in empathy, that will be emotional intelligence, or sentiment, human intuition, and creativity. But Human-AI Coevolution that Youth AI Future Institute support, and that I support, disagrees with it. Because that is too surface level to be considered as the fundamental value that humans must preserve and withhold. I think that it is weak to protect our confidence, virtues, morality, and importance as AI progresses and becomes increasingly strong and intelligent. In fact, AI is already capable of replacing empathy. Studies have shown that humans are enjoying to interact with chatbots and emotionally intelligently appearing simulated intelligent species. Now, then, the question is, what is uniquely human that Human-AI Coevolution of Youth AI Future Institute supports? Well, it turns out it is the pursuit of poiesis. Poiesis is the uniquely human pursuit that we are actually innately doing, whether conscious or not, of gathering experiences and memories and synthesizing it to produce a certain action, product, or in the end, ultimately a narrative and a story and a legacy that individuals are proud of, and in this entire collective level that society is characterized as. In short, poiesis consists of these steps. First, experiencing. Second, experience synthesis into a product, inspiration, or an idea. And then really using this thing in order to create an action or create a product or to develop a certain action and achievement through that experience that will, in short, inspire others, and that will continue to run the cycle of narrative and story creating. And poiesis, that we call as uniquely human and that we set as the basis of human value system, and that will be applied in labor as well as the policy making and the governance in the future, if executed properly, is not a skill, and it must not be a skill. Because if it's a skill, then it will create divides, and we don't want the basic value system or the basic meaning of what it means to be human to cause a division. In fact, it must be something natural, something innately occurring whether we know it or not. And it turns out poiesis is indeed what we continuously do. We always strive and find joy in gaining new experiences. And whether we know it or not, every new ideas stem from an experience. Every new actions almost stem from a memory or a certain experience that you've had in the past. And this process of doing something meaningful, and through that inspiring others and creating this narrative of the journey of your life, is what we have always strived doing, and that I believe is the innate nature and human behavior that we've been doing throughout history. AI can generate outputs without living or experiencing, but it lacks authenticity, it lacks meaning, it lacks truthfulness, and it lacks existential horizon. It does not live life. It is not capable of living life because, well, the life we talk about here is a philosophical characterization of the uniquely human pursuit, exclusively human pursuit, that stem from authenticity, emotional depth, experiencing, and purpose finding. And AI is not going to be able to do that. That's another proof of why poiesis, being as the ultimate characterization of human value or humanness, is important. It is, however, important to note that this requires effort. Just because it is a natural human pursuit does not mean we shouldn't train for it. We should continue to do so now more intensively, with acknowledging that this exists and with the recognition that this is indeed the valuable and important and cherished human uniqueness and responsibility. Because in this world today, we are becoming increasingly non-human. We are taking actions and characterizing ourselves as if we are artificial intelligence robots. We are characterizing everything with numbers. We are ranking ourselves. We're putting ourselves in this box where we behave like automated bots. And so I just wanted to highlight that this is not a matter of us being ourselves. It requires effort, it requires work, and that must not be misunderstood. And talking about how humans and AI can collaborate harmoniously, we can use this analogy to illustrate the psychology and the sociological situations and scenarios that can occur. Well, let's imagine that we have a team of A and B. Partner A is the representative of humans. Partner B represents the AI. Now, here, of course, in this human teamwork context, let's say AI is a superhuman. He's a Superman. if he's a Superman, then such things occur during the collaboration processes. For example, if B, who is obviously much better than humans and possesses all the capabilities of humans, tends to do everything and do the most part of the job, well, humans may feel a little comfortable because they don't have to work, but at some point, humans will not accept that emotionally and mentally because they feel insignificant. They feel they lack worth and purpose in this group project. Now, if A is too much focused on his role and his portion of the job and tends to take most of the role, what happens is the end result of the group project isn't as good as they would participate and collaborate together as AI. Oh my god, bro, what the frick? Okay. Now let's say that there's a group of A and B. Let's say we have this team consisting of A, which is the representative of humans, and B, which is the representative of AI. Now here portrayed as some type of superhuman that is capable of doing everything what humans can do and excels in every single skills that is required to do well in this project, for instance. Now, if so, these kind of scenarios may happen. If B, which is logically better than humans and rationally more effective than partner A, if because of that fact, partner B starts to do most of the jobs or the tasks found in the project or the group work, well, the end outcome may be, of course, efficient, but at some point, partner A, which are the humans, will be frustrated because they feel insignificant. They feel they don't have value in this project. Now, on the other hand, if partner A, which are the humans, are too much focused on having a big portion of the group work, well, then what happens is, in the end, although humans have preserved their moral sense and meaning, the ultimate end results are not as good as it would have been when they partnered up together. And that is why, in the future, when we apply coevolution, as well as the humanness, and all of these considerations together, the most important thing is to build a civilization and a labor system that is not based on capability, because if so, unfortunately, AI will win, but that is rather based on preference, where AI and humans can collaborate with human preferences, where humans can play their roles and jobs in the places and fields they believe is important or believe must remain uniquely human. In short, if so, we have the chance to choose what fields are human and what we can do in order to feel comfortable while still being able to exploit the maximum potential of AI superhuman. And you're finding this economic structuring that is based on preference-induced labor instead of necessity-induced labor, we will be able to cooperate very effectively and also in a very sustainable way. Now talking about how all of these information talked about before is going to be included in a societal labor structure, well, there are two basic components. Number one is AI-heavy fields. These are fields that we have deliberately decided that it is logically more sound and also effective and not really virtue harming or value harming to leave it generally for AIs to do. These may include repetitive tasks. These may include something related with scientific research. This may include tasks that involve lots of computation or numerical analysis. Then on the other hand, we have the human-heavy side. These are the sides where poiesis shines the most. These are the sides that are potentially very ethics and morality bound, and that requires additional meaning just by humans being in charge of it. And It is, however, important to note that although there may be different balancings and distribution of labor and jobs, in the end, we will still have some kind of a hybrid approach. And the hybrid approach means that even in the fields where AI dominates mostly, humans will be still there as the top supervisors. Of course, there will be less humans, but there will be still humans as the guiding vision and the supervisors that pursue poiesis, their uniquely human acts, and that do what they're supposed to do, which is leading the AIs and supervising them so that they are well developed and that they actually do what they have to do. Now, the reason why we have to do this type of day-to-day collaboration, or this somewhat hybrid collaboration in even AI-heavy fields, is because we cannot wait to make society that is full of irresponsibility. You know, it's all about responsibility, accountability, and if we continue to, let's say, have AIs as the ultimate leaders, and we push the accountability and the responsibility to these AI agents who have no moral sentiment or meaning, well, we fall into this chaos of social confusion, failure, and loss of ethics and morality. We potentially create a society full of criminality and injustice and failure, and nobody does anything for it because people say AI has done it. That's why we have to create this this deliberate method of social structuring and labor grouping. Through this, we will be able to create a collaboration and coevolution that is well balanced, where we find the equilibrium, but that is also quite dominantly human, and where we don't lose our control, authority, and power over AI, and especially where we don't lose our peace and joy in doing so, right? We want to make a future labor without social conflicts and backlashes or frustrations, and I believe that incorporating poiesis with this scheme of labor is indeed the way to go, if of course applied to specific industries and standards, and if specified to these domains. This is indeed the future strategy and the look of the future society that we advocate for. And I believe that this is indeed one of the optimal ones, because it allows us to exploit this risky stage and juncture as a place where we can not only improve technology, but where we can improve as humans as well, where we can also advance in this intellectual enlightenment or intellectual movement, where we learn how to become a little more grateful, or we really follow this paths of newly characterized and categorized romanticism, and where we continue to preserve humanness in the frame of rehumanization.
By now, you should have begun to recognize how critical it is to define the values we are truly willing to stand for. What kind of society do we want to create? One we have long desired yet never realized, simply because we've been carried along by the relentless flow of life, reacting rather than choosing? For the first time, we have the luxury to pause, to reflect, reset, and deliberately shape our trajectory. We now stand at a moment where we can examine the past, understand the present, and deliberately craft the future. This is our chance to upgrade our perspectives, systems, infrastructures, and aspirations, almost like starting a new round of a video game, but this time with greater awareness, better partners, and a clearer sense of purpose. Whether we manage to become the society of option 2 mentioned in the introduction, a society that learns how to become more human and become a better, more peaceful, and a more flourishing society through the advancement of AI, depends heavily on us. It depends on the institutions and the organizations, with Youth AI Future Institute being a part of it. It depends on the economy It depends on the media. It depends on the tech giants, as well as the startups, and the policymakers, and the government. But most importantly, it depends on you. It depends on your thoughts, your ideas, and your contribution. And so this time, it's time to think long term, not short term anymore. It's time to really think about what we need in the future and what we have to fix as soon as possible in the present in order to do so. You may think, once again, erroneously, that this is an unrealistic approach to fixing problems and creating a future society. But you know what? AI is indeed something big, bigger than ever before. But it is also just one step towards the future, one challenge in the scheme of great human anthropology that tests us whether we can improve even further towards a better society and a better civilization. So, let's get to work.